New booth. Who dis? Guys, welcome to the booth. This is the kissing booth. We're here to provide an environment that's different than the closet that we've been recording in, but still provide the same level of sound dampening that we've been afforded so far with the closet. What do we have here? Well, if I may, we have ooh, check this out. We got a little light up here facing towards me, with a little camera set up. We got the mic mounted. A little mic stand here with a place for the tablet. Now this is really wonky. This thing kind of shifts a bit, but I'll say that it does provide a slight ledge. However, I mean, look at this thing. It's still pretty tiny. So, it keeps it a little bit, but maybe not exactly what I want to see. I got a little ledge over here as well. But my computer has to go all the way down here because, along with all the stuff that goes into the computer, because this thing is so small that it cannot fit my computer. So, unfortunately, I thought I could have this pretty cool setup to where I could just right over here have all my stuff and I could still kind of be in frame, but I actually have to duck down and be totally off camera for any time that I want to see something down there or read a chat or pretty much do most things stream wise. I have to look down. So this is not ideal. This is not really what I want to be the final set here, but I'd say it does a pretty good job sound dampening. Now it's not perfect, I think, because I think there's still a bit of sound bleeding that happens, but this, I believe, will do a really good job of providing the best audio quality given this environment. So that's what we got. Let's see if I can have headphones on while I do this. Moment of truth. Honestly, it does fit. It does fit, and it does provide a fair bit of slack. So, kudos to you for that. Sure, thank you for developing a headphones that are long, lengthy, cable wise. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. What else? I don't know. I feel like this could be a pretty quick stream where we do maybe a little bit of auditioning. We could do some auditioning. We could do. Yeah, I think auditioning might just be where it's at tonight. We'll see what happens. I'm so sorry. We'll see what's happening with this. I keep trying to play in my mind different scenarios of how I can at least have this knee height or something, so I don't have to full on squat for this. But I don't know. The more I think about it, the more I'm coming to the realization I just have to be off frame for a lot of this. Sorry, guys. All right, this is what we were on. Um, we'll refresh these pages. Open, open, open. All right, cool. All right, so it looks like we got approved for this. So we can move into the next stage of development for the blackjacks. Do July 9th. So that's coming up. Let's check out my sales. The month of June. We have a total of 20. That's pretty sick. Love that. Love that. We had one sale right at the end. Love that. And for the month of June, we have 36 hours listened. So we're doing pretty good. We're doing pretty good there, guys. All right, check check 1 2, check check 3 4. Check check check. Yo. Hmm. Hmm. All right. Ugh. let's see what I can do. There we go. Check, check, 1, 2. Check, check, 3, 4. Ooh, I can't read this. Yikes. Maybe like that. Kind of defeats the purpose. Chapter 2. Understanding the Odds. Chapter 2. Understanding the Odds. The house edge works. How the house edge works in blackjack. The concept of the house edge is fundamental to understanding how casinos operate and how players can approach blackjack with a strategic mindset. The house edge represents the mathematical advantage that the casino holds over the players over the long term. In blackjack, this edge is relatively low compared to other casino games, making it a favorite among players who are looking to maximize their chances of winning. What is the house edge? The house edge is the percentage of each bet that the casino expects to keep over the long run. Over the long run. Over the long run. In other words, it's the built-in advantage that ensures the casino makes a profit regardless of short-term outcomes. Regardless of short-term outcomes. The house edge is based on a The house edge is calculated based on the rules of the game and the expected behavior of the players. In blackjack, the house edge typically ranges from 0.5 to 2%. Depending on factors such as the number of decks used, specific rule variations, and the player's skill level. For example, if a blackjack game has a house edge of 1%, this means that for every $100 bet, the casino expects to keep $1 over the long term. The remaining $99 would, on average, be returned to the players in the form of winnings. Factors contributing to the house edge. Several factors contribute to the house edge in blackjack, including the rules of the game, the number of decks used, and the decisions made by the players. 1. Dealer's advantage. The most significant factor contributing to the house edge is the dealer's advantage. In blackjack, the dealer plays their hand after all the players have completed theirs. If a player busts, exceeds 21, they lose their bet immediately, regardless of the dealer's outcome. If the dealer also busts, the player has already lost. This timing difference gives the house a substantial edge. 2. Dealer's standing rules. The rule requiring the dealer to stand on a certain hand value, typically 17, also impacts the house edge. If the dealer must stand on a soft 17, a hand containing an ace counted as 11, this rule slightly increases the house edge. Conversely, if the dealer must hit on a soft 17, the house edge is reduced. 3. Number of decks. The number of decks used in a blackjack game can significantly affect the house edge. The house edge. Generally, the more decks in play, the higher the house edge. For example, a single deck game has a lower house edge compared to an 8-deck game, assuming all other rules are the same. This is because multiple decks reduce the likelihood of favorable card distributions for the player, such as hitting a blackjack. 4. Payout for blackjack. The standard payout for a natural blackjack, an ace, and a 10 value card is 3 to 2. However, some casinos offer a lower payout of 6 to 5 or even 11 to 1. Or even 1 to 1, which significantly increases the house edge. A 6 to 5 payout increases the house edge by about 1.4%, making it much less favorable for the player. 5. Player decisions. The choices made by players also influence the house edge. Players who consistently follow basic strategy can reduce the house edge to around 0.5%. However, players who make decisions based on intuition or guesswork, such as hitting when they should stand or not doubling down when it's advantageous, can inadvertently increase the house edge. How to minimize the house edge? While the house edge ensures that the casino has a long-term advantage, players can take steps to minimize this edge and increase their chances of winning. 1. Learn basic strategy. The most effective way to reduce the house edge is to learn and consistently apply basic strategy. This set of rules, based on statistical analysis, tells players the optimal move for any given hand and dealer up-card combination. By following basic strategy, players can reduce the house edge to its minimal level. 2. Avoid 6 to 5 blackjack games. To keep the house edge as low as possible, players should seek out games that offer the traditional 3 to 2 payout for blackjack. Avoiding games with 6 to 5 or lower payouts is crucial, as these games significantly increase the house edge. 3. Take advantage of player-friendly rules. Some variations of blackjack offers rules that are more favorable to the player, such as the ability to double down on any 2 cards, resplit aces, or surrender. These rules can reduce the house edge and should be sought out whenever possible. 4. Manage your bankroll. Effective bankroll management is essential for minimizing losses and staying in the game longer. By setting betting limits, knowing when to walk away, and not chasing losses, players can avoid the pitfalls that lead to unnecessary losses. Players can avoid the pitfalls that lead to unnecessary losses. 5. Practice card counting. For players looking to gain a more significant advantage, learning to count cards can tilt the odds in their favor. While card counting is not illegal, it is frowned upon by casinos, and players caught counting cards may be asked to leave or face other consequences. Card counting, when done correctly, can reduce the house edge and, in some cases, give the player a slight advantage over the house. Probability and statistics in blackjack. Blackjack is a game deeply rooted in probability and statistics, making it a favorite among players who appreciate the blend of luck and skill that the game offers. Understanding the role of probability in blackjack can help players make better decisions at the table, ultimately improving their chances of winning. This section delves into the key concepts of probability and statistics that influence gameplay and strategy. The basics of probability in blackjack. Probability is the likelihood of an event occurring, expressed as a fraction, percentage, or ratio. In blackjack, probability is used to assess the chances of drawing specific cards, forming particular hands, oh my gosh. Oh, well, I guess that's out. Whoops. In blackjack, probability is used to assess the chances of drawing specific cards, forming particular hands, or achieving certain outcomes. Every decision a player makes, whether to hit, stand, double down, or split, is influenced by the probability of different events occurring. 1. Probability of drawing a specific card. In a single deck game, there are 52 cards, with 4 with 4 of each rank, ace through king. The probability of drawing any specific card, such as an ace, is 4 out of 52, or approximately 7.7%. As more cards are dealt, the remaining probabilities change. For example, if 3 aces have already been dealt, the probability of drawing the final ace is 1 out of 49, or about 2%. 2. Probability of busting. Probability of busting. When deciding whether to hit or stand, players often consider the probability of busting, going over 21 and automatically losing the hand. The probability of busting depends on the value of the player's current hand. For example, if a player has a hand value of 12, the probability of busting with the next card is about 31%. If the hand value is 16, the probability of busting increases to around 62%. With the hand value of 20, the probability of busting is 92%, making it highly advisable to stand. 3. Probability of the dealer busting. Understanding the dealer's bust probability is also crucial for making informed decisions. The dealer must follow specific rules. The dealer must follow specific rules, typically standing on 17 or higher, and hitting on 16 or lower. The probability of the dealer busting varies based on the ruck card. If the dealer shows a 2 or 3, the bust probability is around 35 to 37%. If the dealer shows a 4, 5, or 6, the bust probability increases to about 40 to 42%, making these cards the most favorable for the player. A dealer up card of 7 or higher reduces the bust probability significantly, often below 30%. Statistical concepts in blackjack. In addition to basic probability, several statistical concepts are vital to understanding blackjack and improving your strategy. Expected value, EV. The expected value is a critical concept in blackjack. Expected value is a critical concept in blackjack that helps players assess the long-term profitability of a particular decision. All right, we're at page 20 here. Oh, actually, it's not bad. 25. Okay, all right. EV represents the average amount a player can expect to win or lose per bet if they were to make the same decision if they were if they were to make the same decision repeatedly. Each action in blackjack, hitting, standing, doubling down, or splitting, has an associated EV based on the player's hand and the dealer's up card. For example, if hitting on a particular hand has an EV of plus 0.1, this means that over time, a player can expect to gain an average of 10 cents per dollar bet by hitting. Conversely, if the EV is negative 0.2, the player can expect to lose 20 cents per dollar bet by hitting. 20 cents per dollar bet by hitting. By consistently choosing actions with positive EV, players can reduce the house edge and increase their chances of winning. Variance and standard deviation. Variance measures the spread of outcomes from the expected value, while standard deviation is the square root of variance and provides a sense of the typical deviation from the expected outcome. In blackjack, variance and standard deviation are important because they describe the swings or fluctuations that players experience over short periods. High variance means that outcomes can vary widely from the expected value, leading to significant winning or losing streaks. Low variance indicates that outcomes will be closer to the expected value. Low variance indicates that outcomes will be closer to the expected value with fewer extreme swings. Understanding variance helps players manage their bankroll effectively and set realistic expectations for their results. House edge and player advantage. House edge and player advantage. As discussed earlier, the house edge represents the casino's long-term advantage over the player. However, with the right strategy, players can reduce the house edge and, in some cases, gain a slight advantage. Card counting, for example, allows players to track the ratio of high to low cards remaining in the deck, adjusting their bets and playing decisions accordingly. When the deck is rich in high cards, the player's advantage increases, and they can capitalize on this by raising their bets. Practical application of probability and statistics. Understanding probability and statistics in blackjack is not just an academic exercise. It has practical implications for how you play the game. Using probability to inform decisions. Players can use probability to make more informed decisions at the table. For instance, knowing the probability of busting on a hand value of 16 against a dealer's. For instance, knowing the probability of busting on a hand value of 16 against a dealer's 10 up card can help players decide whether to hit or stand. While basic strategy provides a good starting point, understanding the underlying probability allows players to adapt their strategy in specific situations. Card counting and probability. Card counting is a technique that relies heavily on probability. By keeping track of the cards that have been dealt, players can estimate the probability of certain cards appearing in future hands. This information allows them to adjust their bets and playing decisions to maximize their advantage. For example, if the remaining deck is rich in high cards, the probability of hitting a blackjack increases, and the player may choose to raise their bet. Managing risk with statistics. Players can use statistical concepts like variance. And standard deviation to manage their risk and set appropriate bankroll limits. Understanding that short-term results can vary widely from the expected value helps players avoid becoming discouraged during losing streaks and preventing them from overestimating their skill during winning streaks. Common misconceptions about odds and winning. When it comes to blackjack, many players hold beliefs about the odds and winning that can lead to poor decisions and unnecessary losses. These misconceptions often stem from misunderstandings about probability. The nature of the game, and how casinos operate. This section will address some of the most common myths. And clarify the realities of blackjack. To help you approach the game with a more informed and strategic mindset. Misconception 1. The gambler's fallacy. One of the most pervasive myths in gambling, including blackjack, is the gambler's fallacy. The belief that past outcomes influence future results. In blackjack,
This might manifest as a player thinking, I've lost the last 5 hands, so I'm due for a win. Or, the dealer has had a hot streak. They're bound to lose soon. So they're bound to lose soon. Each hand in blackjack is independent of the previous ones. The cards don't have a memory. And the outcome of one hand does not affect the outcome of the next. While it's possible for streaks to occur due to random chance, they don't indicate a chance. They don't indicate a change in the odds of winning or losing in future hands. Misconception 2. Misconception 2. Chasing losses will lead to winning. Many players believe that if they keep increasing their bets after losing hands, they'll eventually win back their losses. This belief is often linked to the martingale betting system, where a player doubles their bet after each loss, assuming that a win will eventually recoup all previous losses. Chasing losses by increasing your bets is a dangerous strategy. While it might work in the short term, it can quickly lead to significant losses, especially if the player encounters a prolonged losing streak. Casinos often have table limits that prevent players from doubling their bets indefinitely, making it impossible to guarantee a win using this method. Effective bankroll management. Effective bankroll management and sticking to a consistent betting strategy are far more reliable approaches. Misconception 3. Misconception 3. Certain players at the table affect your chances of winning. Some players believe that the actions of others at the blackjack table can influence their own chances of winning. For example, they might think that another player who makes bad decisions, such as hitting when they should stand, will ruin the outcome for everyone else. While it's true that other players' decisions can influence the order in which the cards are dealt, they do not affect the fundamental odds of the game. Each player's odds are determined by the cards they receive, and the dealer's up card. Blaming others for your losses is a distraction that can lead to frustration and poor and poor, and poor decision making, and poor decision making, and poor decision making.
Got some in my throat there.
And poor decision making. Misconception 4. Misconception 4. Always standing on a 12 or higher is the safest strategy. Some players believe that once their hand reaches a total of 12 or more, they should always stand to avoid the risk of busting. They think that by minimizing the chance of going over 21, they are increasing their odds of winning. While avoiding a bust is important, always standing on a 12 or higher is not the best strategy. The decision to hit or stand should be based on the dealer's up card and the overall probability of winning the hand. For example, if the dealer shows a 7 or higher, the probability of the dealer making a strong hand is high, and standing on a weak hand like 12 or 13 might not give you the best chance of winning. Basic strategy often recommends hitting on a 12 when the dealer shows a 2 or 3, is the probability of busting is lower than the probability of losing to the dealer's stronger hand. Misconception 5. Card counting is illegal. There is a common belief that card counting is illegal and that players caught counting cards can be arrested or banned from casinos. Card counting is not illegal. It's simply a strategy that skilled players use to gain an advantage by keeping track of the ratio of high to low cards left in the deck. However, casinos frown upon card counting because it can shift the odds in the player's favor. While you won't be arrested for counting cards, casinos have the right to refuse service to anyone they suspect of doing so. If you're caught, you might be asked to leave or barred from playing blackjack at that casino. Misconception 6. Betting systems can beat the house edge. Many players believe that using a specific betting system, such as martingale, Paroli, or Fibonacci, can help them overcome the house edge and guarantee long-term profits. No betting system can change the fundamental odds of blackjack or eliminate the house edge. Betting systems may alter the distribution of wins and losses, but they cannot guarantee a profit over the long run. The house edge is a mathematical certainty built into the game. And while betting systems can manage risk, or enhance the enjoyment of the game, they do not provide a way to beat the casino consistently. Misconception 7. dealers have an advantage because they go last. Some players think that the dealer's position, playing after all the players have acted, gives them an unfair advantage, as they can see how other hands have played out. As they can see how the other hands have played out. The dealer's advantage doesn't come from their position, but rather from the rules that govern their actions. The dealer must hit until they reach a total of 17 or higher, regardless of what the players do. The primary advantage of the dealer has is that players lose immediately if they bust. Even if the dealer subsequently busts as well. Even if the dealer subsequently busts as well. The dealer's position does not allow them to make strategic decisions based on other players' actions, as their choices are strictly dictated by the game's rules. Understanding and dispelling common misconceptions about odds and winning in blackjack is crucial for developing a understanding and dispelling common misconceptions about odds and winning in blackjack is crucial for developing a sound strategy and improving your chances of success. By recognizing the realities of the game, you can avoid the pitfalls that trap less informed players and focus on the decisions that truly matter. And focus on the decisions that truly matter. Nice. We made it, guys. We made it.
Used to assess the chances of drawing specific cards, forming particular Chapter 2: Understanding the All right, and we're bouncing. And we're bouncing, guys. Gotta figure out what's going on with the light up here. I think it probably just ran out of battery. No, just decided to turn off. Sweet. All right. Well, we did it. All right, all right, all right, all right. Let's tell some scary stories in the dark. You ready? Are you ready? I don't think you're ready. Okay, so I think I'm just convinced that this thing turns off after a certain amount of time. Uh, I don't know how to fix that. Because that's going to be really annoying when I, don't move. Or maybe it is just, low on battery, because it's not turning back on now. So I'm going to go with low battery. All right, guys. All right. You heard it. You seen it here, folks. You seen it here. We're going to have to do the low light sign off, but I love you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate you if you've been here. Or if you're seeing this on the playback, thank you. I appreciate you. Appreciate you guys watching it on playback, keeping up with all the progress. But yeah, this is a very new development, so check it out. I think for the most part, this thing's pretty cool. I have some trepidations with it. I mean, it gets pretty hot in here. There's not a lot of light. Not a lot of places to set things down. Like interacting with something on the floor is kind of a bummer. So I don't want to be doing that. I want to have something pretty like at minimum like hip level, like best case scenario, like maybe up here, but we'll see. We'll get this light charged up, and then we'll see what we can do. So thanks for tuning in, guys. I appreciate it, and yeah, maybe I'll think about some solutions to these problems. But thank you for listening, and maybe you guys can let me know if you have a solution to my issue here. I'm here to hear it. So thank you so much, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Love you. I bend down to turn this off. Hold up. Oh, it goes dark. How about that?